All right, guys, quick question for everybody. What moved more money last year? Visa, MasterCard, or a type of crypto you've probably never heard of? Well, I'll just give you the answer, so we can move along. The answer is stablecoins. $33 trillion in transactions in 2025, more than Visa and MasterCard put together, right? That's crazy. And most people still think stablecoins are just a boring parking spot for crypto traders. We're about to fix that. Let's go. All right. So what actually is a stable coin? The name does most of the work here. It is a cryptocurrency designed to stay stable. Most are pegged to $1 to the US dollar. I mean, for most intents and purposes, a stable coin basically just represents a dollar in the form of a crypto. Anyways, one stable coin equals $1, as I just said. It does not go up on a Tuesday and wreck your portfolio on a Wednesday like Bitcoin might, or especially, meme coins or altcoins. It just sits there being worth a dollar, which sounds boring until you realize how useful that actually is. Think of it as digital cash, not digital gold, not digital stocks, digital cash, just like me handing somebody money in the street, but you can now do it through the internet. Except this cash moves in seconds, works on weekends, does not care about bank holidays, and does not need anyone's permission to cross borders. It's pretty awesome. The two biggest right now are USDT issued by Tether, sitting at about 187 billion in circulating supply. If you look on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, you can see, and USDC issued by Circle, which has exploded 220% since late 2023 and is now at 78 billion. Together, they make up the majority of a market that just hit 315 billion total. That is not a niche anymore. That is infrastructure. So, why would a normal person actually care about this? Real. Let us get real for a second. You are a freelancer getting paid by a client in the US, but you live in Mexico, Argentina, or the Philippines. Typical virtual assistants. The old way, your money hits Western Union or a wire transfer or PayPal or any one of these things, takes 2 to 5 days, and you lose 6% off the top in fees before you even see it. 6%, sometimes more, depending on the country and all the different methods. On $1,000 payment, that is $6 gone just for the privilege of receiving your own money. With stablecoins, that same payment hits your wallet in under a minute, costs less than a cent in network fees, and arrives worth exactly what it was sent. No middleman taking a cut, no banker's hours, no forms, no permission. Or you say, live somewhere with bad inflation. Uh, Let me rephrase that. Or you say lives, or let's say you live somewhere with bad inflation, like Argentina, Turkey,
Mhm.
Nigeria, where your local currency is losing value faster than you can spend it. Stable coins let you hold your savings in US dollars on your phone without needing a US bank account. That is not a crypto flex. That is financial survival for 1.4 billion people who have a phone but no access to a proper bank. What are you guys' thoughts on all this?
Yeah, it's I mean, if you think about it, right? If you go and try to send even on your phone, like they have things like Zelle, right? If you're bank to bank, but they have limits. You can only send this much, or
Hmm.
maybe it gets jammed up, and then you have to contact them and say, "Oh, this is why I'm sending it." Then they're asking you why you're spending your money. Why
Yep.
do they need to know that, right? It's like maybe I just want to send someone 5 grand. With stable coins, it's you send it, and that's just like USDT, USDC on Ethereum. They have things like Solana, which their stable coin is starting to blow up. It's literally less than a second that you can send any amount of stable coin. You could send $5 million and it'll be there in 1 second.
Yep. Anywhere
So
in the world. Yeah, it's
anywhere in
crazy.
the world instantly, right? So there's so many like positives to it. And now that it's like you said, it's starting to be recognized by all the big dogs, right? So now it's not just this kind of obscure thing that crypto guys are using, but now major banks. I mean, if you go to Coinbase, right, you can stake your stable coin, and your stable coin will actually earn way more
Well,
than
you don't
you
even
you
have
would
to
earn
stake
just
your
sitting in the
your stable coin in Coinbase. You just leave it in your account and you just earn yield.
yeah. So
You
it's
know,
kind of like just
it's
earning yield,
easy.
right? And it's
Yeah,
way more than you could ever earn through a bank or something just by holding it.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I actually had issues with Zelle because you mentioned Zelle with my landlord. She wanted to do like a wire or something like that, and the wire costs money. So I was like, can we do it some other way? Because it's costing me money every single month just to send her money. So she was like, yeah, sure, let's do Zelle. I couldn't Zelle her more than $2,000 to start. And the
Yeah.
reason was Zelle didn't think that I knew her or whatever. So they had to give me a certain time period of me sending her money over and over and over for the limit to go up. And that was just, her because she already had a business account. But otherwise, yeah, you get limited on what you send. They ask why you're sending it. It's bullshit. You should be able to use your money in ways
Yeah,
that you want
they're
to use
still
your money
keeping,
for.
they're still telling you how you can spend your own money, right?
Exactly.
And they're still middlemaning you, and they want to know where it's going. You have to let them know, and then they get to
Hmm.
decide. And it's just not the right
And
way.
then and they
And
could stop it if they want, right? If they don't like that reason. So that's
yeah, well,
the beauty of
that's one of the,
stablecoins.
well, you know what? One of the crazy things I've noticed is I've been, obviously we've all been in crypto for over 10 years, and last cycle, you like nobody was really accepting stablecoin if they don't know crypto. They would say, I need cash, right? I
Hmm.
haven't had a single person that I've done business with in the past 2 years where if they don't understand crypto, you can now say, well, open a Coinbase account or something like that. I'm going to send you the stablecoin. You can cash it right out into cash if they don't know
And it's going to
anything.
get
And
crazier. Yeah.
everybody says yes. Like
Yeah.
nobody says no to that. Nobody's turning it down now. And soon it'll just be part of the process, right? It'll just be another thing you can use.
Yeah,
Much better.
absolutely. All right. So, well, now here's where it gets interesting for regular people because stablecoins are not just for sending money. They are becoming an actual alternative to a savings account. Right now, you can park stablecoins in certain DeFi protocols and earn somewhere between 4 and 10% annually. Actually, if you know what you're doing, you could do even a lot more than that.
Hmm.
Compare that to the average US savings account paying around 1%. Same dollar amount, same stability, but your money is working harder. Obviously, this
10x.
with different risks than a bank, no FDIC insurance, smart contract risk, obviously. You are in charge of your own security. But for people who understand what they are doing, it is genuinely compelling. And it is not just dollars. There are now stablecoins backed by euros, Turkish lira, Singapore dollars. You can hold
Gold.
the currency you actually want without needing an account in that country. The stablecoin market is basically rebuilding global banking from scratch on your phone, on the internet. Visa and Stripe are already settling merchant payments in stablecoins. The UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, has delivered humanitarian aid in USDC directly to wallets in Ukraine. This is not theoretical anymore. It is actually happening. The final piece of this regulation, because for stablecoins to go truly mainstream, people need to truly trust them. And in 2025, that actually happened. In the US, the Genius Act was signed into law. This is not small. It legally defines stablecoins as digital money, not investments, requires very not investments, requires very stablecoin to be backed, requires every stablecoin to be backed one-to-one with real reserves, and mandates regular audits and consumer protections. For the first time, the rules are clear. That matters enormously because it means banks, businesses, and regular people can use stablecoins without worrying they are operating in a legal gray zone. In Europe, MICA, the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, is live. High standards, licensing requirements, mandatory backing, same idea, different jurisdiction. Between these two moves, stablecoins are now operating inside actual law in the two largest economies on Earth. The Wild West era is over, which either makes you feel good about the future or a little nostalgic for the chaos. Probably
Yeah.
both.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
it's the one thing in crypto where I am usually against too much regulation, right? It's the one area where I think it's a good thing, right? Because like one of the best things you just talked about is they make sure that it's a one-to-one back, right? So that you
Yep.
have to have the even amount of money in order to issue these stable coins. And that means, if they have an issue or something goes wrong on their end, they're backed, right? And you don't have to worry about that as much. So that's super important for something like a stable coin. And one other thing we should talk about is if you are in crypto and or you want to get into crypto, one of the most valuable things about a stable coin is you don't have to leave crypto when you cash out, right? You get to send your crypto to a stable coin. So if let's say you get a coin that does a 5x, but you want to cash out, but you don't want to get out of crypto and pull your cash out. You just want to keep your money and then be able to play more in the market. You can stable coin it at that price and the coin can dump to zero and you still have that much money and you can buy back in with that stable coin. So it's actually one of the best inventions ever for the industry as far as like trading and stuff because it actually protects your capital and you don't have to leave the industry. You don't have to get out and cash your money into cash if you don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I want to go back and touch on the banking thing, the one-to-one thing. Because when you deposit your money into your bank account, right, you think it's safe, you think your money's there, you think you can come back and pull it out whenever you want. But they just lend out your money. They don't have it because of fractionalized banking, right? So you can sit there and put in $1 million and think that you have $1 million because it shows on a digital screen that you have $1 million. But as soon as you want to go pull out $200,000, you get asked why. They give you time that you have to wait for them to get the money. Like there's so many of these stipulations that you don't have to worry about when it comes to stablecoins. So I
Try
love
try and go to a
stablecoins, man.
bank. Try and go to a bank if you have the money and say, "Hey, I need $50,000 right now."
Oh,
Watch
dude,
what
there's so
happens.
many YouTube
It's
videos I've seen
impossible.
where these
It
guys
is
try to
Try to get
prove
impossible.
to,
10,000 to buy a car. The
Yeah.
banks can just
yeah,
choose to make it hard for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So
And
stablecoins
like you
are,
said, the Genius Act, right? It's a massive breakthrough for stablecoins moving forward because it is some form of regulation, and the United States is basically agreeing that this is the direction we need to go, and this is headed in that direction.
Okay, well, two things I want to point out as we wrap this up. The first thing is the stablecoin evolution, or the beginning of the stablecoin, was actually something that was done to try to basically make up for a hack. It wasn't like a plan. A lot of times the best things in the world are some just crazy random idea that you guys remember that, right? I don't want to get into that. And then the second thing that I think is really important that everybody needs to understand and know about stablecoins is stablecoins live on smart contracts, and the company that issues them does have the ability to freeze a
Mhm.
address wallet, or they can do a lot with it. So it is not what I would call completely
Safe.
self-custody, meaning that there
Yeah.
is the ability, if they know that your wallet and they know your address, they can freeze your account. You can't do that with Ethereum. You can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't do that with your typical blockchain cryptos. So make sure you understand the difference between holding a stable coin for purpose and uses or holding something that you have complete control over, like Bitcoin. So,
Yeah,
anyways, look,
it's a
stable
good
coins are
point.
not the exciting part of crypto. They're not going to 10x. Nobody is getting rich off USDC, but they are the reason crypto is actually usable in the real world. They are the boring infrastructure that makes everything else possible. And right now, with a 315 billion in the market and regulators finally on board, they're growing faster than almost anything else in finance. If you found this useful, like, subscribe, drop a comment below, tell us what you actually, if you actually use stablecoins or not, or if you've never even touched one. Tell us what's stopping you. We read every single comment, and if you want more breakdown like this, Bitcoin, DeFi, whatever, just let us know. The
And if
Coinbros,
you have any
you guys got
questions,
anything else?
if you have any questions too, and hit us up and we will respond and give you an answer to our best ability. But yeah, this is pretty important to understand stable coins if you are going to get in the industry for sure.
Right
See you
on.
guys on the next one.
Yep.
Peace.